Hello and welcome to Reviews. As always, I'm Plume Noir, and I have both Butters and JR here that have decided to come up here. As you can hear, I'm feeling a little bit better. When you have the flu, and I have been living off of water and those Mrs. Fields instant noodles, and today I finally made myself dinner. It was actually really nice. Just sauteed up some mushrooms, doing some beef tips, put it all over egg noodles, and it's a quick thing. But oh my God, it was just like it was so nice to finally be able to eat real food. But that's not why you're here. This is Mary Jane, the amazing Mary Jane #4, and Butters here. She decided right when I hit record to sit down here, so let's go ahead and see if she's going to attack. This is Leah Williams, big titty Leah Williams. I really wish she'd unblock me on Twitter, and yes, JR is here too. Um, Everyone's coming up here. I really wish she would unblock me on Twitter because I've been saying so many good things about this book, and this series really has no right to be as good as it is. When you put it at the premise, Mysterio is trying to make a movie about his life, and where he casts himself as basically the good guy, and Mary Jane is there to help him make his movie. Meanwhile, the Savage Six are attacking him because they don't want him to make the movie without getting their cut. Does it sound like it should work? But it does. I've been enjoying the series. So let's just take a quick peek at this. But first, I gotta talk about this cover. So I want to show you a magic trick, okay? See, I got nothing in my hand. And I just made the cover art disappear. Okay, mostly. Look at all that wasted space. You're looking at, roughly half the cover is just white space. Well, I mean, technically it would be white space if they didn't fill this in with this yellow color here. All we have here is Mary Jane. She's grabbing a big guy by the horn to take control of him, and that came out wrong. Okay, let me try this again. We have Mary Jane grabbing the rhino by his horn. He looks a little afraid. She's got her fist clenched. Okay, it looks good. Now, I don't like trading card covers, so this isn't just a pose, but this doesn't really happen in the book. Nothing like this happens. But I'm okay with it because it's not just a trading card cover. But look at this. Look at that. Now, I understand. Now, you have his horn. If we raise this up, it'd be hard to tell that it's the rhino because his horn would be obscured by the Mary Jane logo. And if you cut it off, you just see some big guy. Is it armadillo? Is it rhino? Back in the day, Marvel would actually take their cover art, and if it needed some type of corrections or whatever, they actually had artists inside the office who could do quick corrections on it. There was an issue of Marvel Age where they had a Captain America cover where he was in a sewer, and it came to a fork like right here, and it went off this way, went off that way. And Marvel Age showed the original cover, which had Captain America like over here, and I think the villain down in this tunnel. So they're on opposite sides of the tunnel. The reader could see them, but they couldn't see each other. Okay, neat concept, but it didn't make for a good cover. So Marvel Age showed how they took Captain America, the in-house artist, kind of cropped him out, put him dead center so he was in front of the fork, and that the bad guy, I think, was still off here. And then they made the cover corrections over here. And yeah, they fixed that. You look at this, and it's almost like I don't know if it can be fixed. Move this up here so where you'd have the logo like right here. And it might still work. You can probably still crop it a little bit here. If, the art doesn't go out, you just kind of crop it a little bit. Put the title here. You could still see her hand. Let's see. I pull back maybe because, the way it arcs, you could still see her hand over his horn. It would still work. But that's just a lot of wasted space. It's a bad cover. And I've been looking at this, and I've been otherwise enjoying this series. But wow, who let that design go? Look at that. Anyway, it just kind of causes the eye to slope and makes it even worse. So anyway, about the issue itself, uh, we pop in, and the guy who is playing Spider-Man at the end of the previous issue quit because they've had to move to this like abandoned zoo because they're being attacked by the Savage Six, and he quits. And Quentin, who is disguised as this, primo director, Cage, you know, tries to get him to stay, threatens him, and the guy tries to extort him by saying he'll report it to the guild, and Mysterio just ends up making it rain, and paying him off. So now they're without a lead actor. They have one more shot to fill with Spider-Man, but thankfully he's in a mask. He won't be unmasked, and that's when Mary Jane comes up with a great idea. I'll play Spider-Man. Okay, I did kind of laugh at that. It was very silly. It's like, okay, maybe, there's going to be some type of joke, but no, she actually does play Spider-Man. And the other thing about this issue is they keep making a lot of reference to this actor who, like I said, it kind of almost seems, since he's playing Vulture, like he's maybe supposed to be Michael Keaton, but I kind of, the way they show him, I think he's supposed to be kind of a play off Ray Liotta. And so while he's trying to come to the studio, well, not the studio, but the zoo where they're filming, the paparazzi are following him to find out what he's up to. But they have to stay hidden to film the movie because the Savage Six are attacking them. So the idea is to send, I almost called her Screwball, to distract the paparazzi. I want to bring up this panel for one reason, and this may just be a little thing that I noticed. It's something I really like. If you look at Screwball here, you may notice two things. Let me flip this upside down. I like it when an artist understands how breasts work. There are so many times where you have a female character, she's upside down, and her breasts are still facing down. They're kind of like they're just bolted on. And then you see she's upside down doing a handstand, and they're acting the way real breasts would. They're actually following gravity. I know that's such a really tiny thing to nitpick, and it makes me sound like I'm a boob obsessed guy, and well, I am a boob guy. I notice these things. And yes, to see something like that, it's like, okay, finally an artist gets it. Because I always complain about boob socks where it looks like a piece of clothing actually has something sewn into it for the boobs to fit into. So, think Jim Lee art, especially like in his run on Uncanny X-Men / X-Men, or any of his art really. So I saw that. I really appreciate. Good job to Carlos on that. And I don't know, maybe Leah Williams, being big titty herself, can tell him how to draw it. Yes, I keep bringing that up because that used to be her handle on Twitter. So she distracts him, and then we get the stupid ad. And Mary Jane is serious. She is going for playing. She's going to play Spider-Man in this. But we have this great scene here where Mary Jane is talking to this android, whom I've already forgotten his name, Master Matrix. And apparently, I didn't know this, he knows who Spider-Man is. He knows that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. And I always say, thank you for bringing back editorial boxes. These were gone for a while, and it's nice to see that they make a comeback. When he makes a reference, when Master Matrix asks Mary Jane, how does Spider-Man feel about you working with Mysterio? And, she's like, I've been wondering how to broach the topic with him myself. And they say in the editorial box, see Spider-Man Deadpool 33 to 40 for how Master Matrix knows Spider-Man and Peter Parker. Well, I said before, I don't really like Deadpool, so I don't follow that series. I don't know. I really don't know much about this Master Matrix guy, other than pretty much what's said in this series. But he is a former villain, and he's getting a second chance through Mysterio. And we get this great little conversation here about, well, originally she asks about, um, he asks her about deceiving Peter, how it is that she's actually helping one of his villains. And she says that, she believes that he's doing the right thing, basically. Do you do you understand the concept of redemption? And he says intimately because it relates to him. He says how he was created to be, uh, a bad guy. And she says, then it's not a switch from bad to good. It's a journey that takes a lot of effort and action. Right now, Quentin is putting in the work. And he counters what I see. That's why you haven't told Spider Man that you're working with the real Mysterio. You believe you're protecting this journey. Yes. And it's not that I don't think Peter isn't capable of understanding that. I just need to figure out how to tell him. And he wonders, and if you've misjudged Mysterio, then I will have deceived someone I love, which makes me feel sick to my stomach. And, he talks about how he was created to be a weapon, and when he approached me to shoot this film, I assumed it was for maximum time efficiency, but it's because he wanted to give me the chance to create something for the first time, isn't it? So he understands, but this is really, really important here. And I want to reiterate this. Then it's not a switch from bad to good. It's a journey that takes a lot of effort and action. This is the thing about redemption. I always say I love redemption arcs. And it's almost a commentary. I don't think Leah Williams was trying to make this a commentary on the cancel culture that's going on. But it is definitely, it seems more and more like she is cutting ties with the SJWs. And it's kind of worrisome because the way that they're just so intimately tied into the industry right now. And it's that's why you're seeing, the things like Comicsgate and alternative comics venues, I guess you could say, coming up. People are trying to get away from this. They don't want to be lectured at. But once you do that, you are cut off. You are just excommunicated from the comics industry. You are bad at that point. And they think once you go bad, you can't do anything. If you apologize, then they see it as a sign of weakness. And if you don't apologize, then they just keep going down. And if they don't like you, they're going to find something about you anyway to cut you down. There is no redemption. And it's not, like she says, a flip. You're not just like, okay, I've gone to the other side, I'm different now. No, it is rebuilding that trust. And that's what the comics industry needs to do right now. That's what like Marvel needs to do. They need to rebuild that trust. They went bad. They can't just automatically flip to good. They have to do it in steps. And I don't know if Leah Williams was going for that with this. Uh, Maybe I'm reading way too much into this, but it's so fascinating the way she has been doing this series. It's it's this great self awareness, and I'm starting to like her more and more. And yeah, I've read some stuff I didn't like by her, but this series has been good. And yeah, I can't really show much more, but you got to get to the payoff, which is, I think of the page before. You get to see Mary Jane dressed as Spider-Man, which we've seen before. I remember there was a Spider-Man annual which had her, kind of ripping open her shirt, Clark Kent style, and she had the Spider-Man costume underneath it. I actually don't remember that story, but I do remember the cover. I think the story wasn't that good. But here, she says that Mysterio is going to use, basically in post production, use his either CGI or his skills to basically make her look like Spider Man. And so yeah, we get some of these great, I guess you could say cheesecake shots. Uh, Although this one here, the way it almost looks like she's grabbing her own boob there. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just boob obsessed tonight. I don't know. But anyway, this is a comic about making a movie. And it shouldn't work, but it does. There are some funny bits. Some are good, some aren't as good. Like the screwball part where she has the drones come out supposed to be silly. I didn't care for that, but the rest of the book, the people talk. They actually seem like people actually having conversations, not person one going, here is my line, and person two going, I can't turn my wrist that far. This is my retort. And person one saying, yes, here is my reply to your retort. No, they actually talk like people. They actually have conversations. And we have a Mary Jane here that is being nice. I mean, that is how she is keeping everything together. Now, you may think, how is one person just so hyper competent that she can get a movie going? Well, she uses connections. She uses a little bit of guile. Sometimes, as we've seen in previous issues, maybe relies on her femininity a little bit. Not that that's a bad thing. If you have a tool in the kit, use it. But we're seeing a Mary Jane that's likable, that she is not broken under pressure. She hasn't shown any stress yet. There's been a little bit of doubt, but you would think by this point there might be a little bit of stress. That she's on the other side of the country, far away from Spider-Man, but she doesn't need his help. And that is what's enjoyable because we're seeing her getting by on her own, being hyper competent, being capable, and without saying, see, I'm doing it. Woman power. No, she is just a good person. She is a good character, and she's a strong character. And that's why this series has been good. And I've liked every issue of this so far. And I would have no idea that, if you go back 4 issues, if you told me about this, I would never have guessed I would be enjoying this series as much as I have been. And like I said, I would love to tweet this out to Big Titty Leah, but she has me blocked because I follow the wrong people. So maybe in this whole redemption thing, maybe she'll come around and maybe stop blocking people just because they follow the wrong people. But anyway, about this issue, enough of my soapboxing. What did I think of this? 12 o'clock. Can you hear my arm crack? Yeah, my wrist is cracking. I've broken like all my bones here, so there's a lot of cracking over the years. Yeah, I would go 12 o'clock on this. I am loving this book. Could this go on as a continuing series? I don't think so. But it is nice to see it as a limited series. We get to see Mary Jane. We get to see her. It's hard to take a human character in a superpowered world and make it interesting. So she's not getting into fights, but she's relying on her wits to get through. And while she's not battling the bad guys, she's keeping the production going. And I can't believe how much I'm enjoying that. So anyway, yeah, I'm here, until this series ends. So I'm enjoying it. And I am glad you stayed around with me for these past 18 minutes. We still have Symbiote Spider-Man, Peter David's. I'm going to be reviewing that. Probably get to it tomorrow. Another series that I've been enjoying. So, as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.